Hello, this is Todd Luck, and I've done quite a few reviews of the toys in the Tarzan the Epic Adventure toy line from Trendmasters. This was a Tarzan and Edgar Rice Burroughs toy line back in the 90s. And I did a few more videos on the toy line last year, and I got several requests to, kind of try to review the rest of the line. And so I actually went out and I bought a bunch more figures, and I'm going to show you what I have. And I'm also going to give you some tips on collecting the line, some things I've learned along the way. And we're going to try to answer the question, as far as I can tell right now, is it actually possible to complete the toy line in 2022? And so without further ado, let me show you the toys I'll be reviewing in the coming months. So this is the Temple of the Mayhar mini playset. This is part of their Earth's Core stuff. And so this is the final of the 3 playsets. And so this will complete that collection. So if you like the bendable figures, I went ahead and got the rest of those. So I've got those monsters. And then I have these 2 Tarzan, and that will complete my reviews of the bendable figures. I got this 2-pack of Tarzan of Mars versus the Plant Man, and this will complete my reviews of the 4-inch figures, with the exception of 2 of the 4-inch figures we'll be talking about a little bit later. So on the 5.5-inch scale, we have Tarzan, or at least City of Gold Tarzan, and then we also have Dino Armor Tarzan. And I also got this Tarkus and a lot of 2 figures I bought on eBay. But wait a minute. I already have this figure. I've already done a review of him. What in the world meant so much to me that I went ahead and got an extra Tarkus just so I could get that figure? Well, of course, there's only one answer. Tarkus's best friend, closest ally, John Carter of Mars. Yes, I finally got John Carter of Mars after years of searching. The strange thing about this figure, when I searched John Carter figure, John Carter of Mars, stuff like that, did not show up on eBay. For whatever reason, the search bar just is kind of funky on certain search terms. What happened was I was bored one night in front of my computer, and I just decided to search Tarzan the Epic Adventures and scroll through all the results and just see what came up on eBay. And that's how I found this figure. As far as I can tell, in the last couple years, he's been up on eBay like once a year. So it's a very, very narrow window, and you just have to be very, very lucky. And I feel very, very fortunate to have gotten this extremely rare figure. So once I do my review of Mr. Carter here, I will have done a review of a version of every figure that exists on the 5.5-inch scale, except for one, and we'll be talking about that one a little bit later. So a couple more bits of advice for collectors. So one thing I am running across on eBay is people opening these packages and resealing them, and not necessarily making it obvious in the description or in the photos. Sometimes they're using a term called new inbox, NIB, which I hadn't heard before. I bought this figure. Apparently it just means they open the package and then put it back in. Now, how that is still new, I am not sure. But just keep that in mind. If they're not saying it's sealed or that it has not been opened, mint on card is the term for that, you might want to ask just to be sure. I don't really care because I already own a ton of packaging for this, so I'm just going to open these up and throw away the packaging anyway. But if you're mint on card or you really care about getting it unopened, you just need to ask the seller. So one great mystery I stumbled upon was this badge. This is supposed to be a blue at the Earth's Core Tarzan badge. Obviously it's purple. And I couldn't figure out, was this a factory defect or was this because it's been opened? This is one of the ones that's been opened and resealed. Perhaps it was exposure to the air that caused it to turn. The seller did not know, even though he said it was NIB, new in box. He actually didn't know anything about this figure. He actually bought it just like this, taped up. But then I looked at the badges for these other At the Earth's Core figures and toys that I bought, and I noticed that they are not the same shade of blue. So apparently, and these are still factory sealed, so apparently it is something that happened at the factory. Apparently there is a variation in color between the blue at the Earth's core badges. Some people would consider this a factory defect. I think it's actually an interesting quirk. I kind of like the idea of getting badges in different shades of blue. It kind of makes it interesting. So one last piece of advice, be careful with these figures. I've already chronicled some of the damage I've had with this line. This guy, you've probably seen him in the back of most of my videos. He's up here normally. There was one time he fell down and he ended up down here on my desk. And unfortunately, that was just too much for poor Tarzan, and his back broke. I did push the pieces back in and they're staying for right now. But you can see I even have a crack on the front here. It's not good, guys. But it's not too surprising. This is a hollow chest with some very thin plastic. It's an old figure, and it's very possible that some of the plastics came out better than others when they were making them too, because some of them are, you know, much more durable and can stand stuff, and then some are just pretty fragile. So just be very, very careful with your figures. His sound still works, but I definitely wish I had used a Tarzan that didn't have sound for my display and had kept this guy in a little more secure place, so, you know, this type of accident wouldn't have happened with him. So let's try to tackle that big question. Is it possible to complete the collection of Tarzan the Epic Adventure toys? Well, that depends on what you mean by complete. Do you want all the different ways they were packaged? Do you want a mint on card, or just own all the different packages? So that is a very ambitious goal because each figure tended to have different ways it was packaged. However, I have found a website that lists almost every single thing that I am aware of that exists in the toy line and all the different ways they were packaged. The only exception is it is missing the John Carter versus DJ Thoris 2-pack, but that's it. Now, there's a couple things you're probably going to notice that are missing from that list on that website, is that it doesn't have these two vehicles. And you'll notice that when you look on the back of the Tarzan the Epic Adventure toys, everything else is a photograph of an existing figure. The vehicles that it lists are the only instance of them using artwork. As far as I can tell, these do not exist. These never came out. If someone has any evidence that they did actually come out at retail, let me know. But as far as I can tell, you can just mark those off. Don't have to worry about them. I've given you 2 free spaces on your Tarzan bingo card. You're welcome. Now, there's going to be 2 problems if you're trying to get all the different toys that came out in package. One of them is going to be a 2-pack that has these 2 fellas in it. And this is Dino Armored Tarzan on the 4-inch scale and King Kerchak on the 4-inch scale. It's a 2-pack that contains both of these. I have never seen anybody selling this 2-pack. It is listed on that site. There is a photograph of those figures in package, so I believe that it does exist, but I have never seen it for sale anywhere. It could be as rare as John Carter. It could be rarer. So then why don't we just switch up our definition of the word complete? Let's just say we don't want all the different ways they were packaged. We just want the figures. We don't care how we get them. So that makes life a little bit easier. So you can definitely get Dino Armored Tarzan because he is in a 2-pack with Cheetah the chimpanzee, which is absolutely bizarre because Cheetah is actually a giant compared to him, so I don't know why that was ever done, but you can get that 2-pack and get this 4-inch Dino Armored Tarzan. And the Kerchak does exist in various different ways that you can get this 4-inch King Kerchak. However, remember I said there were 2 problems with trying to complete the line. The other one is the 5.5-inch version of King Kerchak. I have never seen this for sale anywhere on any site, whether that is loose or in package. So that is a issue with trying to complete this collection. Again, it could be as rare as John Carter. It could be even rarer. I believe it does exist because, again, I've seen the photos of this figure in packaging, but I have just never seen it for sale. In my personal opinion, I don't know if you need King Kerchak. Of all of these figures on the back, right, it is the one that doesn't really have any basis in the novels, right? All of these have some kind of connection to the source material. King Kirchek, other than the fact that it's supposed to be Kerchak somehow, really doesn't have any way that it could have happened in the novels. The idea here is that somehow Kerchak, instead of being dead, which he is in the novels, is somehow turned into a cyborg. How in the world could this have happened? I just don't see any mechanism in the novels for this. I suspect the figure may have started out as a concept maybe for another line or something, and they just put it in Tarzan the Epic Adventures. I can't imagine what they were even thinking with this figure. And I think if you can get everything but that 5.5-inch King Kerchak, you're doing good. The 4-inch King Kerchak is pretty rare and may set you back a little bit too. So if you get all the figures but the weird cyborg ape guy, you're doing good. So anyway, you can look forward to reviews of all that stuff I was showing you that I actually have in the coming months. And so like and subscribe for more videos. And until next time, see ya.